This class is all about hips. It's going to be short and brief so that we can get right in there. The only prop you're going to need is a couple of blocks. So grab yours and come down. When you come down to the floor, please just cross your legs at your lower shins, around your ankles, and settle onto your sit bones. So the spine is nice and long here. You can put your hands where you feel is most comfortable for you. We're just going to go into a circular movement here, which is working the hip joint. So maybe breathe in for this front half of the circle and breathe out for the back half. So breathe in and out through your nose. And then we'll change direction and go the other way. So maybe you can feel the joints feeling a little bit stiff. They will get better. We are going to be working deep into the joints. So bring the soles of your feet together, maybe hold your ankles, and then just bounce your knees up and down a few times. Keeping the spine nice and long here, everybody. And then pause for a moment. So if you feel very tight in the inner thighs and in the hips, you might want to pop a block underneath the supporting knee. We're going to use the same hand and press down a little bit with the knee towards the floor. So it's quite nice to still keep the feet together if you can. And going all the way to the floor is not necessary. So I've got my hand just above my knee on my thigh so that I'm not stressing the knee at all. And I'm leaning away a little bit, so you might be able to do the same. If you are more flexible in the hip joint and in the inner thigh muscles, then maybe you can do this without a block. Either is fine. And then release and bring those knees up and down again. Same thing the other side. So again, you can add a block if you need to, or take it away. So breathe here. We really don't want to hold our breath when we're practicing yoga. We're always, teachers are always reminding you to continue breathing. It's much easier to go into the uncomfortable when the breath is there. And then release. So now we're going to come down onto the floor, onto our backs. So have your blocks close by because they're going to go underneath you side by side. If you've only got one block, that's okay. When you're on the ground, press through your feet and lift your pelvis. If you've got two blocks, it's really nice to give yourself that extra space and have them side by side underneath. Now release the arms to the sides and we have this pelvic elevated position. So just enjoy that for a moment. It's very releasing for the lower back. If we have tension in the lower back, this is a lovely way to release it. Okay, so bring one knee towards the same armpit, and you could use your hands around the shin or the back of the thigh if your knees don't like that. And we're going to extend out the other leg. Now this doesn't need to be straight, the knee could be bent if you prefer. So release the knee away and then bring it to you so that you have movement here. And let's bring breath to that movement. So breathe in when the arms are straight, breathe out when the knee comes in. It's a deep flexion in the hip joints and in the hip flexors. Okay, and then release Both feet to the floor, and then we'll switch sides. So first of all, bringing the opposite knee to the opposite armpit, straightening the leg or having the knee bent. Breathe in, straighten the arms. Breathe out, bring the knee to you. Okay, so we'll do one more. And then put both feet on the ground, hands onto the tops of the hips, and just give them a little bit of a massage. And then bring the knees, both of them, towards you. And we're just going to take them around in a circular movement. Breathe in with that half circle away, breathe out when it's closer. Okay, and then we'll switch direction. Lovely. And then release both feet to the floor. And then separate your feet a little bit more. Push through the feet and then take the blocks away. Slowly we're going to descend from the top of the spine all the way down, kind of putting each vertebra on the floor and releasing the pelvis back down. And what you get is that lovely neutralness at the lowest part of your spine. And then extend your legs, both of them long towards the end of the mat, both arms overhead, so you just get a full stretch here through both the front side of your body and the back side. And then bring everything back. Roll onto one side and use your hand as a headrest, and then bring one foot towards the buttock. So the top leg, bring that foot towards the buttock, and the under leg is a supporting leg, so keep it nice and firm and strong. So what I like to do here is engage in the front of the hip flexor. So I'm thinking of this section from my hip to my knee getting longer. I'm not really interested in bringing my foot closer to my buttock. I'm thinking of stretching out from the front of the hip socket. And you might notice that this stretch can go quite a way down as you're holding the foot, sorry. And then release. So where you are, you could just roll over onto the other side. I'm just going to spin around, using the hand as a headrest. The under leg is straight. Holding the ankle and extending from the hip to the knee. And you feel that stretch right out of the hip flexor, where we were a moment ago. It's a lovely sensation all the way down the front of the leg. If we're very tight here, this is difficult. So really just be mindful and be kind to yourself. Okay, roll on to your front now for me. Hands underneath the shoulders and a little bit further back. And the elbows are in the air. Now let's tuck the toes under. We're going to push, come onto our knees, hips back to heels, and lift that pelvis to find downward facing dog. Take your time here. Stretch out the spine. Maybe even pedal the feet a little bit. And then slowly walking one step at a time to bring those feet to the top of the mat. And when you're ready, bend your knees, curling up until you're standing. So bring the hands together at the heart space, feet hip distance apart, a little bend in the knees. We're going to fold at the front of the legs right into that hip socket as we go down. And we can do this with an out breath, releasing the hands to the floor. Take a breath in, come up to a halfway place. So that could be hands underneath your knees, fingertips on the ground, or you're more than welcome to use blocks. Fold down, Step back into downward facing dog. Now, let's take the left knee deep into the chest, out to the side and then back. And repeat that 4 more times. So breathe in, halfway, breathe out. That's 1, 2, again into the hips, 3, and 4. From here, take that foot forwards by the left hand, releasing the right knee to the floor. Now bring yourself up a little bit. Turn your chest to your knee and just put your hand on the thigh. Rest it there. Breathe. And here you might want to release back a little bit and forwards. This is for the back hip. Again at the front of the thigh. 2 or more of those. Again, pad your knee if you need to. All right, release the hand, left hand to the ground. Take that leg back. Okay, so now it's right knee into the chest, out to the side and back behind you. Keeping the foot close to you. 3 more. 3, 2. And this last circle, and bringing that right foot by the right hand. Left knee to the ground. Right hand onto your right thigh. You're turning a little bit here. Moving forwards and releasing out of the left hip. Let's see if we can do 2 more of those. Okay, right hand to the ground, stepping back, finding downward facing dog. A little bit of movement here, and then down onto your knees, knees really wide on your mat to find a very stretching child's pose. So hands forwards, hips back, forehead to the ground, and breathe. And then walk your hands back so that you are upright, and then come round and just come into a crossed-legged position. So we'll hold this last position for a few moments, finding our breath. If we need movement, please go ahead and do that. And a very slow circular movement. Forward, side, back and side. And then we'll reverse the movement, take it the other way. And I'm really hoping, everybody, that your hips feel a little bit looser, warmer, and a bit more flexible. When you come back to center, bring the hands together into your heart space. Namaste. Thank you very much for practicing with me today, and I'll see you here again soon.